That would be a funny story.
He's got like a drunken fist style of fighting the Hulk and shit. Like,
It's like Peter and the chicken.
Yeah, just nonstop ass.
Yeah, man. What it could have been, but instead we got a pile of dog shit.
Welcome to the break room.
We're here. West Memphis 3 tonight. Stay tuned.
That's right. Hey, yo.
Unmute that mic, sir.
You got the wrong banner on there is what I was going to say, but we switched it, so it really don't matter.
Actually, that was the Talking Junk Network banner, sir.
Yeah, I said you got the wrong... That's what I said.
It's the right banner. We're the network. Collectively. This is what we do. Wef. What the fuck?
I thought we had a dedicated break.
Talking Junk Network.
No?
Where entertainment lives.
Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to
BreakRoom, yo.
Your favorite rapper's favorite podcast.
See, this is why I like your show. You guys charismatic. You know the right things to say.
Welcome to the Break Room, the podcast that comes to you live every Saturday night. As you can see, it already started off kind of crazy ass intro.
Yeah, this episode's gonna be morbid tonight, so if you're of an easy stomach...
I mean,
Disclaimer, yeah. We're talking about 3 murdered kids here. So,
Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
honestly, I feel very late at disclaimers, aren't we?
You said what?
We're kind of late at giving disclaimers. I feel like if you're watching the show, it should be implied, viewer discretion advised.
Pretty much. I'm gonna make a drink real quick.
YouTube, you fuck.
What's good with
Now-
y'all? How's y'all week going?
Well, you know what? There's some companies out there that are cutting costs by cutting labor and other things that are useful and trying to make it look like niggas be lazy out here, but it's not the case. It's causing problems, but you know what? We keep on trucking.
of course, it's always...
You say that like it's something new.
It's always been that way.
Well, it's not new, but it's the frame of how it's being put in society right now. Like, you ever notice how all the places that were open later just aren't now? They try to act like it's labor. Them niggas is saving money. They're trying to save and recoup the money that they lost during the pandemic right now. So they're cutting all the corners they can to make
What money they lost, dude? They got PPP loans. They got millions of fucking dollars. And what happened? They didn't invest it into their business. They just fucking pocketed it. And then they want to cry about people are lazy, don't want to work.
That's not our money. They want our money.
No, that is our money. It's our taxpayer money. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that's not our... There's different dollars. That's a different bank that they...
That's a different dollar.
If it wasn't, then they wouldn't care and market as heavy as they do.
Well, no, my point is, though, is that collectively, in general, it's just the way of doing business. Whenever the economy gets tough, long-term investment and sorts of different, things like that in order to, advance their skill pools or sticking with workers or paying them well, it's more profitable to just pay them a shit wage and then transfer them over to it whenever they quit, just get a new one almost immediately and continuously transfer them in and out.
I'm not even trying to derail the show that quickly, so I'm not even.
Nah, you're just talking about my bread and butter, brother.
No, I have things I'd love to have this conversation, but this is clearly not the time.
Yeah, so instead of talking about capitalist exploitation, we're here to talk about the West Memphis murders. Jay, while you're over there,
We are going to talk about that, but before we talk about that, we are going to talk about this drink I'm making real quick.
What's that, Jay?
Why are we making that? Why are we going to be talking about the drink I'm making? Because
what Dizzle are you making?
We are sponsored by Dizzle, the premium luxury liqueur straight out of California, mango liqueur, and it's only classified as liqueur because it is cognac and tequila together with a little bit of mango and citrus notes. It is 80 proof. This thing is a beast, and we're gonna make a drink right now after we tell you we're also sponsored by Heaven's Pantry's Excalibur, the only vegan brownie that you are going to be addicted to. Order now, get 10% off with the promo code TalkJunk69. Now, I'm always going off the fly with these drinks, so I threw some chamoy around the glass with some Pop Rocks there.
Fucking Pop Rocks. Have it sizzle
Pop
up in
Rocks.
your mouth and shit.
Right. Do some inside the cup too. We're gonna throw some Dizzle in there.
Sound like you have a sugar rush ahead of you.
They said that already, all right? Then we got the new Minute Maid Agua Fresca. This one's hibiscus.
We're combining a hibiscus with mango.
No, he's
Lord.
combining pie with biscuits.
We're not that juice. And you know we need a little bit of sizzle in there with the Pop Rock. So we're gonna throw in the Jelly Belly watermelon sparkling water to top that off.
Jelly Belly makes drinks?
Word. Kind of got me.
You have like a Willy Wonka factory where you at? Where the fuck is
Willy Wonka drinks over here,
It's called What's Poppin'.
It's called the diabetes drink.
right? What's
Right,
popping
that
is
is right.
Pop Rocks.
What's popping is his blood pressure.
You put that vital machine on him right now. It's gonna flag up like crazy. Like, what's going on with this guy?
What are you talking about?
Jay's gonna be bugged out for the next hour.
We're talking about your shades.
My
I like
shade?
that. That's actually my favorite filter so far.
3 in the morning.
Listen to this. This is an ASMR dream.
The only drink you can have while it sounds like it's frying bacon. Awesome. Diabetes and gout all in one drink. You gotta love it.
You want to be one of those weird old ladies at the bar? Put a few strips of bacon in it.
Why not?
Can I get a diabetes on rocks with a side of hypertension?
All right, tonight we're going to be reading off 2 sites. One called The Famous Trials.
Wait, hold up. How's it taste?
Tastes great.
Yeah, what's it taste like? What's it taste like?
Like what does it taste like? It tastes great. Okay.
It's one of the Tiger, the cereal.
Dizzle mixes well with everything. And then you got hibiscus watermelon. This is not the type of
Not
sparkling water
hibiscus.
I like because it's not the sweet one, the one that you get from Walmart that tastes like soda. It's not that one. It's the one that
So,
tastes
yo, where do I get low?
So it's probably like more real then.
right, more real.
Yo, where do I order low biscuits? Because I never heard of high biscuits.
That's why we got the shades on, brother.
It's weed and hibiscus. Hibiscus.
Grown in the mountains.
Apparently, you can find it at Jay's Willy Wonka factory.
He drank a couple of uppers. About to down a couple of downers.
What's up, Dad?
What up? What up?
What's up, Darby's dad, Mr. Darby?
What up? What up? Representing upstate New York. All right.
Upstate? Nah.
What's
Downtown Canada.
Downtown. See, I'll accept downtown Canada before I accept upstate. We Western New York, boy.
What the fuck?
You're upstate. All right.
Nah, we Western. Cause
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a serious question. All right. Do you have more corner stores in a 5-block radius than you do in the whole town?
in the whole town? No, it's bars.
It's bars?
Yeah.
That's not. We know you're not from the hood.
You're not from the hood. Do you have a subway system where everyone named Mother takes?
Yes. Niagara Frontier.
No, I'm not talking Long Island Railroad.
No, I'm not talking to, dude. No, I'm talking about like fucking. Dad, we ain't upstate. We Western New York. What the fuck are you talking about? Buffalo. Not Migs. Listen, not Migs. Listen, you want to
ashamed of where you're from. it is what it is. Like Yonkers is the closest thing to the Bronx than you are to the actual 5 boroughs. It's still New York, but you upstate New York.
No, but like that's the thing though, is upstate New York shit like the Catskills, shit, the mountains and shit. What do you call that then? If we're upstate New York, what's that shit? Catskills and the mountains and all that stuff.
Upstate New York.
Catskills.
Yeah, fuck you, Talon.
Was that all?
Your dad is typing facts, man.
Because I mean, is there a more prominent range in the Catskills?
Is there?
Especially in that area?
Well, listen, the whole thing, you also telling, you want to say we ain't hood? Rick James comes from Buffalo. Rick fucking James.
I mean,
What do you mean so? Do you know who Rick James is, Migs?
I know who Rick James is.
I didn't say Buffalo.
What does that got to do with upstate?
No, I'm not talking about upstate. Talon said Buffalo ain't hood, and I'm just like,
no. That's not what I said. I said we know you're not from the hood because he said no, it's bars that are around me, not corner stores.
No, Lancaster ain't that hood. Although I've been to the east side and west side a few times. Then again, I was the whitest person there, so it happens.
Next time you see your neighbors outside, ask them where they're from. They probably came to live in Lancaster.
Yeah.
It's okay that you're not from the hood, Darby.
I know. Yeah. I have no shame where I'm from because I was in this weird twilight zone. I didn't live in suburbia because there was no developments near me, but I lived near the city. But at the same time, if I drove 20 minutes one way, I could see horses and cows. So it was like a weird, like in between spot.
The suburbs.
Yeah, suburbs up north.
Well, that's the thing. Suburbs where I'm from are like straight up developments, like streets lined with houses. It was actually more like one of those old like historical towns. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, there's a place like that out here called Solvang that's very Swedish and how they do in Dutch.
Well, we're Polish. Yeah, we're Polish and German and Irish.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's yeah.
Right, though. You're still from the state of New York.
But it's not upstate because we literally are called Western New York because upstate's a little different. Like Albany's considered upstate. We're not the same as Albany.
Upstate New York.
Dude.
You do realize he's saying that because you're literally all north of New York City.
Exactly. West,
anything north of New York City.
Y'all New York City motherfuckers think the whole world revolves around them.
See, you said that like somebody from New York.
You're there. Motherfuckers, man.
He's focused, man.
It's my little bit of New Yorker.
Both sides of this fence because I find the bickering hilarious.
It's two types of New Yorkers, you know.
The Goombas and everybody else.
Well, we ain't talking about New York tonight. We're talking about West Memphis.
We probably should though. Do a history of New York City one day.
Maybe we'll find a topic to talk about New York City for next week.
Never. Man, there's so much shit you could selectively talk about in New York City. I think that'd be a good move.
Pizza.
Our pizza's better.
Oh, man. About pizza. You guys are talking about getting banned. If we say pizza too many times, that's it.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Listen, Jay, I'm going to get this episode flagged. Pizza and Hillary Clinton. We're fucked.
Fuck. Hunter Biden.
We're fucked.
You just had to do it.
Yeah.
Joe Biden really did look like that nigga from V for Vendetta, though.
Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Which person?
We're talking about the unfortunate state of the West Memphis Three. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, Jay, lead us off.
And this is a continuation, even though it's not a continuation. All right, this is a segue because we love segues here.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Segue from last week. Last week we did the Memphis rap sigils. We spoke about how there might have been a murder on some Memphis rap tapes.
Rap wizards.
It might have been all bullshit because none of these motherfuckers made it big, but it could have all been real. And we're here to talk about
6 got kind of big when they were supposedly involved, but that's backtracking.
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
3-6 supposedly had some involvement in some of those tapes, and they got pretty big, but that's no different.
Yeah, but they weren't on the supposed 8 to 10
Nah, Jay, but that speaking as somebody who is an avid 4chan browser, that 8 to 10 tapes was just posted by somebody on a fucking board. It doesn't mean really anything.
Thank you, Mr. Darby. You are a very factful gentleman.
Sorry. Usually I'm not the one doing the comments, so I'll be behind on the comments.
What? I'm sorry. Beef on what?
Beef on Whack, you never heard of it? It's basically like it was made as a design. Yeah, that right there is our fucking specialty.
Okay, with those last two. So beef on leg and the Mia sepia sausage. What?
It's a type of Polish sausage.
Okay.
So Miguel, it's okay. I understand. I see the faces.
So much sarcasm, but you know, I'm from New York. I'm just saying. Even your pop said y'all from upstate, so either embrace it or embrace the roast.
All right, I guess, because y'all from New York City, so everything's upstate.
I guess you're from New York, of course. You're gonna what?
Hey, look, both of you are you New Yorkers to the rest of us. So,
Just saying, bro. Just saying.
Anyway, like I said, it's a alley-oop from last week's episode because there was a conspiracy theory out there that suggested the murders in question on these tapes had something to do with the West Memphis Three murders.
deep into the woods, deep into the woods, deep into the woods.
But like what I was saying in general, though, is that like the 3-6 Mafia were the only ones who were actually implied to actually like have involvement with the actual murders themselves. Although that's a disclaimer that there is no proof or evidence as such, so we don't get
I believe they said that they were in the West Memphis scene, but they didn't have anything to do with it. But just so everybody gets a little taste of what we'll be talking about tonight and how graphic this is going to be, take a listen.
They found my son's testicles in a jar of alcohol in Damian Eckles' house with his fingerprints on the jar. Now, how do you dispute that?
Some idiot started a rumor saying that they found children's sexual parts under my bed or in my house, and there was no body parts in my house. Or just, I think maybe the police had something to do with it, just because however, if they can make us look bad in front of the public, then people are going to kind of have their minds made up before anything ever comes out.
What would you automatically just take off?
The way he looks in that video shot too, he looks suspect. Out of all the dudes involved, he actually looks kind of off.
Right, I didn't show it for copyright purposes because definitely, the audio was courtesy of Paradise Lost by HBO Documentaries. So don't try to flag me there.
I had an issue with Paradise Lost in general. Like, that entire documentary was just so utterly fucking biased. They didn't even take into account, like, I like it, like, even when it's obvious that these guys are innocent, or, like, you know, what we're going to talk about, like, how they seem like innocent, I don't know. I think that, honestly, that, like, the HBO documentary doesn't take into the other side. I like it when other people, when documentaries and research things like that take into their side of saying like, oh, Damian Eckles could be the person who did it. And I feel like tonight I'm going to offer some evidence that proves that, hey, maybe Damian was the person who did it.
Maybe Eckles was the person who did it?
Yes. That's not what I believe personally, but I'm here to play devil's advocate.
Okay. Watching this, we came up with a crazy ass hypothesis that somebody else might have had a little bit of a hand in it. So we'll mention that later. But like I said, most of our views towards the end of this are just going to be all hypothetical. So don't go trying to say we're trying to start a riot here, all right? are wrong.
Helter Skelter.
What a fucking compliment to start a riot. They think we have that big of an audience.
Right. That I'm glad that they think we do, but I'm just saying. Little disclaimer out there for the masses, because.
But Jay, speaking of this, do you want to take the lead here on like describing the case, or do you want me to do a little bit of case study?
Let me put my face on.
Your face, your filter.
No, this is not the right one.
You got to wear the Juggalo one.
Let's get it.
All right, let's get it, Jay. Let's hear it.
All right, like I said, we're going to read from famoustrials.com for most of it, just because I don't want to go to Wiki. Wiki does have a lot of good information on the case.
This website did it pretty good, too. I have the same website pulled up, and they're pretty detailed. They're missing a few details, but I made sure to put them in the margin.
Right, cool. We could add them in. Also, if you're an avid listener of podcasts, listen to the last podcast on the left. They got about 3 episodes on this, and they do it real justice. We're going to try to speed through this as much as we can in one episode, filling in as many gaps as we can. But, you know, a case like this, there will be some information missed because it's almost impossible to cover everything, but we'll cover as much as we can.
I did us some justice, Jay. Don't worry.
Word?
Yeah, nah. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned that yet, but fucking that did happen.
That's how you know you're from New York.
You sure you're not Puerto Rican?
Nah, I'm German.
Well, that doesn't sound like you'd have a crime, don't you?
What'd you say? What'd you say, Talon?
Yeah, it's German, yeah.
Talon, it sounds like you're in the fucking third pit of hell.
He's always in the third pit of hell.
Just like you are.
No, he's in the 4th level. That's when they start talking to you in the background.
Alan, don't go towards the light.
Talon, fix the mic.
With you?
Is this better?
Yes, it is.
Much better.
I was saying, oh my God, you are German too.
Yeah, we have some interesting family history.
Heil the man, yeah?
What's up?
You know, Heil. You know.
Yeah, you really are trying to get us flagged, aren't you?
You say Hail Hydra, right? I love Marvel myself. You see Iron Man sitting over there.
Yeah, that was a good save.
You know, that sounds a lot like the 3 Little Pigs from Shrek, I gotta say.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's probably where it started from, honestly. I saw the movie a lot growing up.
Yep, German, Italian, and Irish. Pretty much what Buffalo consists of.
Oh, how convenient, the German and Italian, yeah? Old friend. Anyway, I'm sorry. Well, you can go back here. It's just so dark. I'm afraid to go.
Well, we're talking about something dark in my history, too, so we're not even going to go there.
Let's set the scene here, right? I gotta bring my Dragon Ball Z character voice out for this one because
You sound like a truck stop rapist.
Good, because that's creepy. And that's
No, he sounds like a victim of it.
That's the voice that needs to entail. Got it, bub?
A story after the Glizzy God got you.
Never.
Don't say bub, though. That's hell of a
dollar.
word.
Show me the dollar.
What happens last time they showed you the dog?
The dog?
What does that mean?
I don't know. I never went to Vegas.
Sounds flaggable.
Anyway, let's get it. Let's set this scene. All right. West Memphis 3. I don't know why I keep saying West. That damn dizzle. All right. On a warm, sunny May day, 3 8-year-old boys set off on a bike ride around their hometown of West Memphis, Arkansas. The next afternoon, their bruised and mutilated, hog-tied, naked bodies were pulled from a stream, setting off an all-out effort to find their murderers. Within a month, investigators were convinced that they had found the killers. 3 out of the mainstream teenagers who would become known as the West Memphis Three. I forgot to cue up the sound.
Or the Three Caballeros.
The Three Amigos. Can't even say that because one of them really wasn't their friend. They just knew each other because they lived in the same fucking town.
Dos Amigos and Bob.
Although he's an important figure in the entire story because he's the whole reason why the boys even got implicated in the first place.
Right. Where was I?
Eat your fucking food. Continue on.
No, it was the Pop Rocks from the
Munch in Darkness.
Where was I? The convictions and court battles that followed provide a cautionary tale for police and prosecutors, too sure of their instincts and too quick to rely on the questionable evidence that supports them. The investigation. I forgot to cue up the soundboard tonight. I should have got some Law and Order sounds for this one.
Do 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 do.
Let's see what sound a StreamYard got
dun dun
in the way of music.
That's pretty shit.
Let's turn this up a little bit to hear it real quick. Set the mood for us, StreamYard, so we can read this real quick. That's not the mood.
I'm about to read a sexy jazz novel. Yeah, there we go. I love those little pet claps.
This sounds like a strip club soundtrack.
It sounds like it came up one of them fucking rap serial tapes.
I'll tell you what's about to be on some rap scissor tapes, the murder of this episode, if we don't get a good beat. All right, I guess we're going with this one.
It sounds like the music that you hear while you're reading the story section of a WWF game.
Literally.
You're right, it does.
I'm picturing
the character fucking creation, and it's shifting through fucking.
Bro, I can smell the old PS2 fucking like vents, like you know that smell of like burning dust while your PS2 goes like borderline supernova.
No. No. I had an Xbox, but no, I've never.
I had an Xbox too, and I had the same smell. It smelled just.
Man, I thought you lived in Buffalo, not the Old West.
I mean, Dre, you fair. You right. my PS2 ended up dying because I had a certain someone pour some maple syrup into it.
Just trying to help it run.
I want you to have a little kid take apart yours and touch the one thing it tells you not to touch.
I mean, it took it apart, so what part inside of the PS2 did you tell them not to touch?
No. The system tells you not to touch the eye. Copyright.
What?
Apparently, there's different types of PS2s out there, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, is there a PS2 out there with just a growing eye on the fucking front of it?
Yeah, the third eye on his. Yours was a dusty Mandingo.
Yeah, no, apparently there's just the eye of Sony.
What's this right here?
Yeah, what's that, Jay? Come on, you should continue.
Now, that sounds like some Doom music, which I like, but...
Yeah, me too.
Actually,
I'm fucking with
what?
it.
Considering what they were accused of, if you put it low in the background, it's actually the most appropriate type of music.
Jay, can your shit take Spotify links?
It can, however, my copyright infringement laws can't. So this is copyright free music.
Actually, Jay, if we claim it's for parody purposes, we can perfectly use it.
We
we
can, but they're
tried
still
that
gonna
already. We
block
tried
your
that
shit
already.
and take it down, and then you have to be like, "Whoa, copyright," and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, my bad." Fuck
Right.
We're not even gonna give them the pleasure.
This is copyright free music right here. Okay.
But once we get on that website,
Keep going now.
Anyway, let's get it.
We'll get there eventually.
right? 30 minutes. Let's give it.
30 minutes later.
That was that. All that right there. That's what you call, that
Filler.
fucking- yeah, filler. There you go. That was a filler episode.
Right.
Nah, and you got sit to the detention for that.
Some foreplay, so it'll be willing to accept this dark ending.
Maybe I shouldn't be licking my fingers for this episode.
Or eating on camera.
Right.
Continues to do so.
Now, there's a lot of context behind this
Pigs know about that.
particular comment here.
It blows too.
It does. But maybe you should check the undercarriage before you make a purchase.
Or live life on the edge.
Or on the tip for some,
What the fuck?
You stuffed a fucking peanut butter sandwich into your VCR? All right, we're going to get way off track with that. All right.
Got defeated.
About 8 p.m. on May 5th, 1993, the West Memphis Police Department received a call from John Mark Byers, reporting that his son Christopher Byers was missing. Byers and his wife Melissa. Oh, before I keep going, rest in peace to the families involved in this. We're sorry. Our deepest condolences. It has happened over a few decades ago, so we're just gonna cover it lightly. You know what I mean? But we are reading off of a website, so this isn't our wording. Anyway, Byers and his wife Melissa told a patrol officer that Chris had last been seen about 5:30 working in the yard. Within the next 90 minutes, police responded to 2 more calls from worried parents. Dana Moore said she saw her son Michael riding off on bikes with 2 friends around 6 o'clock, but he never made it back for dinner. Pamela Hobbs said she had seen her son Stevie Branch since he left for school. News of the 3 missing 8-year-old boys led to a search of a mosquito-infested 4-acre woods near Interstate 40, where neighborhood children would sometimes play. The search of the woods, called Robin Hood Hills, turned up nothing, at least that night. The next morning, Chief Inspector Gary Gitchell announced he would be heading up the search for the missing boys. How convenient. In the early afternoon, Steve Jones, this is what's convenient. Excuse me, I'm sorry. In the early afternoon, Steve Jones, a juvenile officer, spotted a black tennis shoe floating in the water of a ditch in the Robin Hood Hills near where the woods bordered the Blue Beacon car wash. Now, this site got it wrong because in the documentary they show the footage and it was a white tennis shoe.
Or really tell them lies.
Tell them why you're mad.
Hey, real quick, Jay, what was it, a 4-acre or 40-acre?
40. Wait, what?
The size of the wood.
4-acre. 4 acres off Interstate 40.
Okay. I thought you said that, and I Googled to see how big of an area that is. That's pretty fucking small for them to not find anything the first day.
But they didn't. God damn. That's a dub. I'm sorry. We bought chocolate covered pretzels. They melted together in the car on the way home, and we put them in the fridge. And they're a rock now, and can't get one out. So sorry about that.
You want a brick of them shits?
It is one now. They are all one.
Right. I just gotta get a knife and fucking cut the shit. What the fuck was I saying? Their excuse for not finding them that night was a big horde of mosquitoes, so they didn't want to go in there.
That's bullshit.
That's what I said, Dre. Like, oh no, the cops are scared of fucking mosquitoes.
Right, because that doesn't scream cover up, and it wasn't just the cops; it was a search fucking party. You know what I mean?
There's more aspects of a cover up later on. We'll get to that.
Way more.
The whole town probably is in on it.
Like one of those like fucking Goosebumps towns.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
As soon as the new guy turns around, everybody looks at him.
One of us. One of us. One of us.
They point at you and start screaming.
15 minutes later, Sergeant Mike Allen of the West Memphis Police Department pulled the naked body of a child to banks of the ditch. What? Yes, that's how it's written. Anyway, and yellow crime tape went up around the area within an hour. So this doesn't even do it no justice, and that was bullshit what they wrote there anyway, because it was Steve Jones. After he found the shoe, he kept going in, and he tripped over the body.
Yeah, no, what happened apparently is that he went into the river trying to grab the shoe, and he fell into the river, and he said that when he fell into the river, his leg felt like something that was a log, and he mentioned that to the other detective that was there, and that's when the first body surfaced.
Wow.
Right. And then he moved a little bit down the river. There was a second body. More down the river was a third. I guess they'll get there, but we'll keep calling this site out.
Hey, Jay, just a quick ask on my part. When you throw up the comments, can you leave them up just a little longer?
Yeah.
Sure.
What about Erie, Indiana?
When you said Goosebumps Town.
Ah, yeah.
All right, now. Within an hour, police recovered 2 more bodies of the children. Both were naked, with wrists bound to ankles with shoelaces. The body of one of the boys, identified as that of Chris Byers, was found with its scrotum gone and its penis skinned.
This is something I wanted to highlight especially. Skinning and consumption of the penis was an old Levant practice in sorts of like traditional pagan Levant or Arabic religions. Stuff that is referred to in typical Gauche mythology. Skinning and consumption of the penis is associated with the gaining of power. And that's something that right away I feel like the police noted and was saying that's like, oh, that's occult activity. The killings were also done under a full moon.
Especially of a young boy.
Exactly.
The funny thing about this is that's what kind of implicated Damian Eckles, because he was a smart ass teen, which he should have been. You know what I mean? That's the persona that teens should have.
But
he didn't do it.
But it wasn't animal predation. It wasn't, because a coroner actually looked at the situation that was going on with like the bodies and shit and said that there was no signs of animal predation besides for insect activity.
Damn.
Especially since it was only 4 fucking acres.
It would show animal bites in the autopsy.
They said it was done with a serrated blade.
Right. Oh well, it could have been a fish.
That's one smart.
Yeah, they got piranhas in the fucking little river.
It was a drainage ditch. It was a drainage ditch.
It was an older piranha that lost its teeth, so now it uses serrated blades.
He just fought his way up the river.
No, he fought his way like on land to get that serrated blade.
That's fair. No, it could be the fact that the coroner was just not admitting to the fact, or covering it up per se. That is a fact that could be into play, which Jay will talk about some more. Go on, Jay. While you eat your shit.
Right. This is an ASMR episode too.
Giving an epileptic seizure test with your glasses there.
All right.
It matches the music. It's okay. Gitchell walked to the edge of the woods where a large crowd had gathered to report the news of the discovery. Upon hearing the news, Terry Hobbs, stepfather of Stevie Branch, fell to the ground and wept. How convenient. Soon after the bodies were removed from Robin Hood Hills, rumors began circulating that the killings might have been the work of devil worshippers. Inspector Gitchell did nothing to squelch the rumors when he told reporters that his department was investigating the possibility that the murders were connected with cult activity. The West Memphis Police Department assigned the case number 930506666 to the murder file.
Yeah. Like what? LOL. I feel like at that point we should have expected Sam and Dean Winchester to show up.
Or Constantine.
Yeah, exactly.
Or both.
That'd be an interesting crossover.
Right? That'd be so dope.
Right. I mean, they're both owned by WB, so it's not too far fetched.
Constantine's owned by DC,
which is owned by WB.
Yeah,
that's true.
WB kind of directs that at this point.
On May 7th, what the hell is happening to my shit?
Your glasses are drunk.
So is my equipment, apparently.
His equipment had too much dizzle.
Did you give it dizzle with a peanut butter sandwich?
Jay, you got to comment down with some Excalibars.
I should, right?
Yeah, just shove it into your CD port and just close it.
You having dizzle with a solid peanut bizzle.
Alex,
peanut butter
I
dizzle.
like ordering it and I fucked up, so I just like, nah, I'll try again next week.
Excalodizzle.
I don't know about peanut butter dizzle. Although I
That
stick
fucking
to
shit goes with everything. You fucking liar.
I do stick to my claim that dizzle can go with everything. I'm not sure about Whiskle peanut butter whiskey, although I do have some and we could taste it a little later.
Okay, sounds like you set that up for yourself, so you better deliver.
Right, but that does sound like it'll taste almost like a peanut butter and jelly, only if you use like apricot jelly.
Only if you shove it. Only if you shove it in a
Mango
VCR.
jelly. No, you can't shove it in the VCR.
Fuck.
All right. On May 7th, Steve Jones, the juvenile officer who first discovered the bodies, interviewed a troubled local teenager, Damian Eckles, who had been under the watchful eye of another juvenile officer, Jerry Driver. For some time, Eckles was a 17-year-old dropout, and Jerry Driver was the guy that I somehow in my head got the notion that he had something to do with these murders.
I mean, that's not a real name.
Jerry Driver? That's a porno name.
Like that's a fake ass name. That's clearly a plant. I bet he doesn't live there anymore.
I'm your pizza man, Jerry Driver.
It's very funny that you would say he's a plant, because guess what he was before he was a juvenile officer?
A plant?
A commercial pilot.
That's what I meant.
Fucking commercial pilot. But this guy had like free reign over the town, right, Darby? He was walking into people's houses and shit like he was a fucking lead investigator.
Well, that's because that the actual like local judge that they had, I forget his name, but the actual local judge that was responsible for governing over the town was just giving out warrants left and right for him to search both Baldwin's and Damien's home, like multiple times.
Even before that,
well, and on top of that, like it's normal for it's like typical like when investigative history. A lot of detectives will go to a truancy or probation officer and ask them, "Hey, do you have any people on your list? You know, or people that you probate that match this description?" Like, you know, and in this case, it would be like, "Oh, hey, do you have anybody there who's a satanic worshiper or occultist?" And then that probation officer, Jerry Driver, was probably like, "Oh yeah, Damian Eckles."
Yeah, but this man...
He sacrificed chickens all the time downstairs. Why?
Because he had to feed his family. That's why.
Right?
That
He was
wasn't
just cooking.
bullshit.
That's what he
That was
told me.
prep work.
And on top of that too, he had a history of different sorts of mental illnesses. He had homicidal tendencies. He had manic depression. He was sociopathic. He was suicidal, and he was also schizophrenic. These are straight from his medical, like his actual like psychological documentation from a profiler that was done a year before the murders.
Sounds like a common American nowadays.
Exactly.
Right. In most days, in most times. Anyway,
We're definitely more mentally fucked up than our past, but that's another conversation.
Definitely not. What the fuck?
Yeah, I would argue. I think the Mongols have something to say to you, and the Nazis.
I mean, are you talking just America or like the world in general?
No, I'm talking about America.
Okay, to be fair, he has a point with that because the Nazis were inspired. Their doctrine was inspired by American Manifest Destiny. Hitler quoted that as a direct inspiration for his ideals of Lebensraum, or German expansion in continental Europe.
Oh, you is the true German. You know your history.
Stands the culture. Yeah.
Darby knows everybody's history, and I'm pretty sure, Miggs, you're from Switzerland at that point.
Now, fuck out of here. None of y'all know.
Dutch.
Well, Darby doesn't Dutch. Fuck out of here.
Well, you sounded like the dude from Frozen there that said, big summer blowout.
Frozen?
Yeah.
Yeah, never seen that.
I got kids, man. Anyway, back to these kids.
Yeah, that's always the excuse.
Right?
Echols
Yeah,
was a
Jay
17-year-old.
just watches Frozen over and over again, and is like Dizzle.
I know Let Me Go is in your playlist. They used to play it at Toys R Us. It's got to throw you back.
Hey, Jason likes to watch movies that makes him cry on purpose.
Right.
Listen, I got kids, man, and they're all girls, so I got my fair share of Disney.
Don't use them as an excuse. You cry on purpose because you choose to.
Like they were telling you, I want to watch the MCU. That wasn't your own decision.
No, that's me. I said
Okay.
Marvel.
Yeah, he's in the background lip syncing whenever a musical comes on.
Look, it's fine that you have the perfect excuse. It's all right. We all love Disney a little bit, even me. I just hate current Disney, so it's all good. Dick. It's all good.
When a Marvel fan goes through divorce and it creates a multiverse of households.
Never mind.
You gotta love Disney symbolism at times. Look who's
Right?
playing
It was
Geppetto.
all a metaphor for the divorce rate in America.
Look who's playing Geppetto.
It's over 50%. It's a coin flip.
Please don't
Damn,
fuck this
Colin, I
up.
thought you would take that and run with it.
Fuck you
Hey,
talking about?
I'm not trying to derail more than I am already, okay?
Colin, me and you, that's our job.
Where your picture looks.
Exactly, and I'm trying to keep it in check.
Back to Damien Echols. All right, this is fucking with me. I gotta.
Yeah, you can't handle it. Put on Let Me Go so you get in the zone.
Use Orloff as your backup singer.
Damien Echols was a 17-year-old dropout with a history of psychiatric problems, including major depression.
And schizophrenia and everything else I said.
Echols wrote dark poems, dressed mostly in black, wore long hair, had a tattoo on his upper arm, and was a self-described Wiccan.
Listen, when he says Wiccan, any of the principles that he described and the things that he believed in, especially the things I was researching on the actual case itself and the confiscated drawings and writings that he had in his own psychiatric evaluations, I doubt he was an actual Wiccan. If anything, if he was any sort of pagan, he was probably a worshiper of Gosha, which means that he was probably worshipping a specific demonic entity, which isn't satanic worship. There's a huge difference. And I would also like to add, at the time of his arrest, he was discussing with his girlfriend at the time, sacrificing their firstborn child in order to attain power. And Jay, I will send you
That was
the...
hearsay.
It was hearsay, but I will send you the drawing in which he made and was confiscated from his bedroom that shows a rattle and a children's feet around 4 tombstones.
Oh shit! Yes, send me the artistic stylings of Damien Echols.
I will.
Also,
yeah.
that wasn't his real name.
I just sent it to you.
Damien wasn't his real name. Damien was a given name, I believe, when he was baptized or some shit.
Why would you give a nigga the name Damien when you
He
baptized?
took that name.
Yeah. Okay.
They were asking.
Somebody saw the
investigators
omen when they were too young.
Right. They were asking if he took that name because of the omen. What the fuck is happening with my shit right now?
I don't know, Jay.
Probably
Tell
like
me.
the happiest, cheeriest child ever, and then at 4 he saw the omen for some reason, and then he just got all dark.
Who wouldn't get dark?
That's why you don't show that shit to kids, but whatever. People still bring them motherfuckers to horror movies because they can't get a babysitter because their life is a wreck.
In the previous couple of years, Echols allegedly had threatened his former girlfriend and the boy she was then dating, as well as his father. During part of a several-month stay with his mother in Oregon in 1992, Echols had been admitted to a psychiatric ward and placed under suicide watch. Returning to Arkansas in the fall because he didn't want to stay with his parents after that, Echols briefly entered a juvenile detention center before being transferred to a psychiatric hospital in Little Rock. After biting and attempting to suck blood from the arm of another detainee. Following his release from the Little Rock Hospital, Echols returned to West Memphis, where he met regularly with a social worker at a mental health center. The social worker reported in her notes that Echols told her he might become another Charles Manson or Ted Bundy. Jerry Driver's knowledge of Echols convinced him that Damien might have a lot to do with the murders of Chris Byers, Michael Moore, and Stevie Branch.
I want to add on to this report on Damien's mental health. His mental status worsened with time. He developed a psychotic euphoria that caused him to believe he would evolve into a superior entity, would be assisted by similar deities or aliens, and eventually be transported to a different world. His psychosis dominated his perception of all aspects of the court proceedings. He developed delusions of reference in which he believed every event or moment, regardless how insignificant, was a potential sign that deities were attempting him to show him the pathway to another world, where he would join other entities like himself. As a result, he was extremely hypervigilant and anxious, but at the same time completely unable to attend the critical aspects of his own death penalty trial. Prior to and during his trial, Mr. Eckles said voices that were not really voices, and he was not sure if the voice inside his head or was somebody else's voices. He thought it was nearly impossible to tell if he was his voice or somebody or something else. He experienced visual hallucinations that were personifications of others. They were like smoke, changing shape but present and constant. The personifications had specific names and activities. One was Morpheus Sandman, who was a hybrid of a human being and a god. Another example was Washington crossing the Delaware. Mr. Eckles saw Washington cross the Delaware with Hermes on the boat. Hermes was able to cross...
Sandman? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Morpheus Sandman, a reference to the Sandman from DC Comics.
Okay, that's what I thought. This nigga had too many dark influences at a young age.
Sounds like me. I love Sandman as a kid.
Great series. Yeah, but it's not all kids have that type of maturity. It's a dark-ass comic.
Yes, it is.
You're a very dark-ass child from upstate.
Yeah, my mom always called me morbid.
Nice.
But no, but like, you know, he says that Hermes was able to cross with Washington because Hermes was moving backwards through time. Mr. Eckles came to believe he was the same as these personifications, made of the same material and from the same place. So he thought he was one of the endless. This guy straight up thought that he was an eternal god with greater power than the gods themselves.
Honestly, kind of going back to that sound clip you were using earlier, Jay, if you go onto YouTube and search up the Paradise Lost, because that's where it's in, he looks like he has an air about him. You can tell that he's talking, but he clearly thinks very highly of himself, and he doesn't seem to really have any remorse when he's talking in that video. And the way he's holding the cigarette and like just his whole demeanor is just like, you are acting suspect the way that you are just having this interview.
Right, he was a character, to say the least. Most definitely. There's no doubting that.
I wonder if that jail sentence felt endless.
Whoa.
It had to have felt endless.
Well, that's
both nights did.
Well, that's the thing. Damien actually really, really suffered in prison, while Jason Baldwin, the other person that got thrown into the case with him, Jason actually liked prison. He said that it gave him a structure to his life, and he befriended all the guards.
Oh, so he was a snitch.
He sure did befriend all the guards.
Yeah, sucking dick, huh?
Somebody wanted that. He needed more cornbread, toilet tissue, cigarettes.
Take care of this lunch.
Cigarettes. That's what it was.
That's the whole reason that they actually took the deal that the state offered them, which was to plead guilty to the whole case and end up as marked as felons, but be released and walk free. They agreed to that plea, or Jason specifically agreed to that plea, because he worried for Damien's mental state.
Oh, how thoughtful.
Right.
But continue on, Jay.
Who's got a blowtorch? The fuck?
Me, I'm doing a deb.
Okay.
I thought you were welding or some shit.
Yeah.
That's like that.
He's just making a frame on the show.
Police questioned Echols about the Robin Hood Hill murders 3 separate times between May 7th and May 10th. Twice at the trailer park where he lived and once at the police station. Mind you, never with a fucking parent present, never with a lawyer present. Echols told investigators he never heard of the 3 boys and that the person who committed the murders was obviously sick. He said he spent the evening of May 5th at home with his mother, talking on the phone with 2 girlfriends in Memphis. In his notes,
2.
My man was a player.
I can kill them kids. I'm a motherfucking pimp. You understand me? I'm worried about this money, man. I ain't out here killing no kids.
Kids don't make no money, homie.
Right? I ain't no slave driver. I just be working these hoes, man. They want to do it, man. I don't know what you talking about. Matter of fact, you need some trick? You need a trick, man? I got somebody right now to take care of you real quick. $20.
yeah.
Welcome to the break room, and yes, Jay, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
All right, cool. Because I slapped my mic and that shit went out.
Well, yeah, you can look at that. This man over here is like, I'm a pimp.
Yeah, right? He's pimping it out on his fucking microphone.
Somebody really don't want us to do this episode tonight. My fucking camera keeps going crazy. My fucking microphone's going crazy.
You saw Sandman when you were doing Salvia?
I remember Salvia.
And yeah, Manson did want to stay in prison. It makes sense.
Manson's alive.
Yeah, now he's just on the streets doing this thing.
Right.
Making cults and murdering people?
Huh? No, going to Taco Bell, talking to people randomly,
Yes, I've met quite a few Mansons in my time in Buffalo.
Trying to talk to people mid-bite. You know what I'm saying?
In his notes of the police station interview.
After I start a cult and play some acoustic guitar and murder some celebrities, I enjoy a 4-layer cheesy burrito from Taco Bell.
Or some Bojangles.
Sounds like that's why Taco Bell's going to win.
Yep.
All right, Mighty Taco, Buffalo represent.
Killing people's bowels and feeding killers since the 90s.
I've never had a bad bowel movement from Taco Bell. I feel bad for people.
Me neither.
Likewise.
My stomach hates sushi. That's the thing. I love sushi, but then I eat it and I shit my brains out for like 2 days straight.
I'm pretty
You
sure.
go to a real sushi place? Like, where do you get your sushi, bro? What the fuck?
There's a couple places. My dad went to a different realm of existence.
Yeah.
Was it better than here?
Sandman.
Mighty Taco. That sounds like a realm of existence right there.
Yeah, I hate it when I take Salvia and I end up in the bathroom with Mighty Taco. It happens.
You take tacos into the bathroom with you?
Why not? You're gonna eat them and shit them in the same
Were you surprised that
place.
somebody did the same thing you did? Finally?
What?
Were you surprised that somebody finally did something that you did?
No. I don't take tacos into the bathroom.
Why not, Meg?
Well,
it's the same
that's
place. You eat them and you shit them.
Listen, by the time I get to the restaurant, I'm eating that shit and I'm done. Like, I ain't trying to drop shit on me while I'm
You put taco sausage or ground or roast beef, so we know that you don't take it to the bathroom. Yeah, when you had that meal in Vegas.
Having yourself a nice cheesesteak.
Yeah, man. Miggs likes to go up to Nevada sometimes, and he likes to have some salads from Vegas.
You want yourself a nice Polish sausage there?
Not at all. No.
That's not what I heard.
Then you're hearing shit from somebody who has 24-hour blinking shades.
It's from this man. I think he calls himself J. Just the letter J. I don't know what it stands for. Maybe
wait. We have two J's. The 24-hour sign and the upstate guy. Like, pick one.
I just want to touch that we are an hour in and we have barely.
It's fine, Jay. Let's keep going. All right. You understand how long some people's podcasts are? It's fine.
Yeah.
For how dark this is, I feel like we need more of this.
Yeah, I feel like this tonight, Jay. I feel like if anything, this might be a longer episode because it is a lot to cover in itself.
It's a whole shit ton. Why don't you start reading? You read a little faster than I do.
So where were you? That's the thing. Where were you? Just tell me at least.
We are at.
Oh, we were talking about a psychological condition, right? Correct, and how they begin investigating into Damien Eckles.
So in his notes of the public police station interview, excuse me.
Well, I know a place where you were. So, police questioned Eckles about the Robin Hill murders 3 separate times between May 7th and May 10th, twice at the trailer park where he lived and once at the police station. Eckles told investigators he never heard of the 3 boys, and the person who committed the murders were obviously sick. I'm just going over some things you said, Jay. He spent the evening of May 5th at home with his mother, talking on his phone with his 2 girlfriends in Memphis, a player like we were talking about. In his notes of the police station interview, Lieutenant James Sudbury reported that the killer is probably someone local and that he won't run. However, I want to compete this claim and say that when the bodies were found, they were meant to be found. They say that the bodies were concealed and everything, but there was stakes put into the river that pinned down their clothing and had their clothing wrapped around the sticks
right, like
themselves.
Somebody was gonna fucking try to hide that shit, and it just so happened that the same person that found the shoe and the bodies is the one that just said, you know what? These stakes in here, let me pull these up and see what these are about.
Yeah, well, not even just that. It wasn't even attempted to be hid. The killer, whoever it was, wanted it to be found. So, Lieutenant James Sudbury reported that the killer is probably someone local and that he won't run. He noted that Eckles likes to read books by Stephen King, and he has evil across his left knuckles. Eckles willingly took a polygraph.
Here's a fun fact, though, about the tattoo evil. If you put it in the mirror, it says, live.
Well, great justification. It's fine now. Everybody gets tattoos evil.
Yeah, you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, that fucking 18-year-old guy killed 3 8-year-old boys. Cool.
Another thing about the crime scene, too, was that for so much gruesome shit that happens to these boys, there was not one drop of blood.
Not one drop of blood. You know what that means? That means that the killing
wasn't done there.
Talwin says vampires. Maybe it was Sasquatch. He ate an Excalibur and killed 3 boys.
Could be.
Disclaimer: Calibars does not make you want to kill 3 boys.
It really does not
like a movie snap. You're crazy for it.
I mean, if you're in a bar and you three motherfuckers is fucking with you, Dizzle might make you do it. But just saying,
Dizzle might
make you do it.
if you're in the bar and motherfuckers is acting crazy and you drinking some Dizzle, I mean, it might happen.
It might happen. You might black out. Next thing you know, you.
Dizzle might make you do it.
And then as soon as you get picked up, the Dizzle made me do it.
The Dizzle made me do it. I swear, I didn't know I killed 3-year-old boys.
The Dizzle made me do it.
I didn't say it was gonna be 3 bars. I said 3 ball. If you in a bar and 3 balls is acting up in the bar, you probably
3 8-year-old children.
Yeah, why is in the bar?
8-year-old. 21 because you can't even get in the bar unless you're 21 or no.
Right. So they were trying to underage drink, and that's why I took them out to Robin Hills and killed them.
It was three 8-year-old boys in a trench coat got over on a barman, and once he realized, he took him out to the woods. Is that what you're
saying? What are you talking about? A fucking Looney Tunes cartoon?
Then it was also said there was a chocolate.
You said there is 3 boys in the bar.
So it could have been an Excalibur at the time.
Oh man, we got off topic real quick.
Shit, when there's a 10% discount involved. Shit.
It's not our fault that the story sets
Dude,
it up.
gluten-free. If you ever wanted to eat a gluten-free bar while listening to a murder investigation, Excalibur.
And it'll give you the energy to get through the nonsense.
Exactly.
Because we're not going to stop. We enjoy it.
And then you're gonna get sick of the nonsense. So you're gonna have to be like, man, I could use a drink, and then you just go look at the Dizzle and 20. What is it, Jay? What percentage off is it?
It is 80 proof.
It's
so that's proof.
That's crazy.
Official.
That's right.
I asked what percentage off it is, but he said 80 proof. You know what that means? It's 80 proof. That means that it will fuck you up.
It's so much off that you can't even.
Don't worry about it. Just drink. You'll be all right.
Exactly. Mix gets it.
80% proven, 20%. Don't ask questions.
It's 10% off. Unless you use the other promo code. It's only on your first order, though. HP Street 20! But no, you want to use Talk Junk 69 off every order, baby.
Talk Junk 69. Excalibars and Dizzle. You want alcohol and vegan bars? You come to the right place.
Right.
That's right.
I'm trying to work on other sponsorships just to let
We
you
need
know.
to get a water sponsor.
I got my eye on this honey that makes your dick hard.
You talk about Royal Honey? You're trying to get a Royal Honey sponsor?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am.
Please don't do that.
Why not? I'm gonna do it.
Welcome to the Break Room. We're sponsored by Gas Station Dick Pills.
Just contact Hims.
Yes.
For that, we've been sponsored by the good old vial of ginseng.
Show talking about 3 dead kids, and you talking about, I want to get some dick pills on this show.
I'm gonna need a
When did you? What? Whoa, honey. I'm gonna put that on one day.
TJN. Something's going on here.
Right, red honey, right?
We need a shirt that says TJN Gas Station Dick Pills.
No.
Right in size XXL.
Gas station. Oh.
All right. We went so far off, I don't even know.
Jay, do you want? I know where we were. Do you want me to continue?
We're never gonna finish.
Investigations. I got you right. We're not. So these, let's try to.
Yeah, let's recenter here. So Echols willing. What's up, Dre?
Story.
What's up, Dre?
Just go to the end. We ain't never gonna finish this bitch.
What happened? Fuck.
All right.
Well, listen. I know where we were. So
Let's just speed up real quick.
Look, you want me to skip ahead, Jay?
Yeah. What they do real quick is they vigorously interrogate these boys.
Well, listen, the part about the interrogation I want to bring up is they picked up Jessie Misskelley. Misskelley is somebody who has an IQ of 72, right?
Bro, I was just telling Jasmine this the other night. I didn't even know you can have an IQ in the double digits.
Yeah, you can.
You thought it was singles?
His name, he's stuck on 1 through 9.
Wait.
No, I thought they were all in the hundreds, brother. Triple digits.
Nah, average American IQ is 90s.
That explains a lot.
Right?
It explains a lot now. Thank you for, sharing that with the world.
Dude, I've never taken an IQ test, so I don't know. But
Does that explain a lot on my behalf or America's?
No, you.
Both of us.
Man.
All of us.
Don't ask if you're part of the group, because you might be.
Hey, Jay, don't worry about it. They're fake bullshit anyway.
Facts.
I agree.
You're just saying that because you didn't see Jessie Misskelley talk.
Yeah, no, Jessie Misskelley was somebody.
I know people have lower IQs based on whatever spectrum, but the IQ test, it
doesn't take into a fact about certain educational disorders and sorts of different disorders somebody might have and different capabilities of learning.
Also different types of intelligence, because
exactly
doesn't mean survival and shit, and skills and whatever.
It's not
We're doing
measured.
it again. We're doing it again. Go back.
Real quick. What was that? There was a case like this that Netflix did a show on, and it was just like this. They cornered the one that had the mental disabilities, and they kind of made him like coerced him into snitching.
The Yellowstone murders?
No, it was the one with this guy in another sleepy ass town full of white people in trailer parks, where he was framed for killing this girl, and like he was notorious. Him and his family were like hated and shit. I was thinking about this too while like researching this, and I can't remember the fucking name of it.
Are we talking about the same thing? Because he walked his friend to the police station, right? Ended up getting arrested.
Well, like, yeah, they made it look like, or the claim was him and his nephew, who was slower, were involved in like killing and murdering and like hiding this body on their property, and they brought in the son and like put him in a room and essentially like made him confess.
Well, Talon, that's exactly what happened. Jessie Misskelley, he was put into a room with investigators for 5.5 hours straight.
First, those 5.5 hours didn't even have the fucking tape recorder on. No cameras, no nothing.
No, they put the tape recorder on in the end. After they told Jessie he is lying his ass off on the polygraph test, which he answered 9 out of 10 questions as true. They specifically coerced fucking Jessie Misskelley into saying these things. And the details he gave the details on his confession are wrong in the first place. He says that a rope was used to bound the boys, a brown rope. But what was actually used? Shoelaces.
Right, and you can't mistake shoelace for rope. And on top of that, he said it happened. I believe he said it happened in the afternoon, and it really happened that night.
Exactly.
There's no way that you're gonna.
It happened at 8 o'clock in the morning. A coroner said it happened at 8 o'clock in the morning.
How the fuck it happened at 8 o'clock in the morning and the boys were fucking
next day?
So you mean to tell me even if they went into the woods?
What happened is that, well, that's the thing, Jay. That's the thing, Jay. The murder scene didn't occur at the crime scene. There was no blood anywhere inside the 4 acres. So what happened between that time period and the other, between when they were last seen up at Robin Hills, because a witness said they had seen them at Robin Hills. What happened at Robin Hills between 7 o'clock the previous day all the way up to 8 o'clock the next morning?
So I got you for right now. So the town, part of the town, including the police, are part of a cult that does worship a dick-eating demon, right? And this is this is part of a ritual. And so they all conspired. They stole the little boys, they killed them, and then they brought them out to that little. Because 4 acres is not fucking big. I sent you that picture in the Instagram thing. It's not very big. So they killed them, and then they brought them over to that scene, and they left them there as a sacrifice.
Well, no, Talon.
Wait. Hold on, let me just finish my thought. And they left them there. And then that's why they were on the outside saying, "Oh, we can't go in because of the mosquitoes and shit." Because they knew there was an entity there that they'd been working and worshiping and shit. And that same shit happens throughout America. And that's the same thing that happened to what Jay was talking about before. And the only thing that I have to base this off of is that South Park kind of parodied the whole idea with Britney Spears and having to be a blood sacrifice.
Talon, I want to add on to this. Why did Damian Eckles say he was seeing personifications of these different desires?
Because he was a tool of the town. He was an unknown tool that was becoming a dark entity that was like led to, but not directly led to on it. So it's of his own volition. So that way he could be utilized for this ritual.
Exactly. He was the goat. He was the goat, the scapegoat.
Right. Like he did it, but he was also a victim of his own.
There's controversing opinions on who did it. There's actually more evidence.
I just told you who did it. It's a whole conspiracy of the town. It's a fuck town. It's like Mayberry and that town from Gummo.
Well, that describes Arkansas, I guess. Welcome to Arkansas.
Never going to fucking Arkansas. Jeez.
Well, no, because there's cults inside of Colorado. Like
there's cults all over the place. You've been
no, Talon. I agree. There's cults all over the place, but I'm talking about in the area that Arkansas is in, like Utah and fucking and shit like fucking, Colorado. Those states that are nearby. there is cults that literally live within the mountains that worship different branches of quote unquote Christianity.
Yeah, they're called.
What's it called?
There was tons. No, let me add on to this. There's tons of different cults along the Appalachian Mountains that stretch from all the way up from New York, which is technically like it's people like consider a difference between the Catskill Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains, but I don't even really consider a difference between them because the Appalachian and Catskill mountain ranges are only separated by a few miles of difference. The Appalachian Mountains consist of multiple different, not only Lovecraftian, but Goetian cult history. And Utah has a lot of different sorts of history too, which is on the other side. So Arkansas is in this weird area between the Appalachians and Utah that lends them to all sorts of different influences from not only Goetic influences, but sorts of different, like, other sorts of magic influences.
So
as well.
Arkansas are off breeds of polygamy is what you're saying. That's why they're so fucked up. Anyway, where were we?
It was a lich.
It was a lich, yeah. I agree with Talon, Jay. It was a lich. We should stop this here. It's a lich.
You saw who's the lead investigator? Call that motherfucker up.
I think he's dead.
Call
dead.
Call the other person. Then.
That's Ken.
The lead investigator for this is
Call
dead.
the next of kin for investigation.
Well, that's the thing. Jay, do I have permission to bring up that one aspect I heard about towards the end of this?
Yeah, we're gonna bring them both up. And the only little bit of theory there would be to where the West Memphis Three would fit into these rap sigils at the end also. Well, let's get back to Jessie Misskelley.
No. Do you want me to continue or do you want to continue?
I just want to try to speed it up a little bit. So this, after coercing this guy into basically a full-blown confession, they turned the tapes on, and he still got it wrong. He still, like Darby said a little earlier, he still got these details wrong. And they still went ahead and they fucking went and they arrested Jason Baldwin and fucking Damien
Eckles. And they searched their houses afterwards. They grabbed a red bathrobe and a few other books and his drawings, which I had mentioned earlier. Continue on, Jack.
Because it just so happened that they found a red fiber somewhere out there on one of the bodies.
Yeah, no, they found a red fiber on the red bathrobe found in Jesse's home. Sakevius, which was the profile of the crime at the time, admitted that they were microscopically similar to the fiber of the red bathrobe found in Jesse's home. You know, the red fiber that was found in the murder scene.
In Paradise Lost, they also said they found a black fiber that matched a shirt of Jason Baldwin's. However, they said they couldn't prove that these fibers came from these particular garments.
But Jay, do you want to know some damning shit? Do you want to know something I found in my own research?
What's up?
So, Circuit Judge David Burnett, who presided over the trials of these three defendants, you know, the one who actually did the West Memphis trials, is conducting the hearing. Burnett told lawyers Monday that he barred the use of the necklace and the test results in 1994 because he felt the evidence could cause a long delay in the trial and possibly a mistrial. But listen, no. Listen.
Oh, no, I was talking to your dad. They were reaching because of his comment. He said so they were wearing bathrobes.
No, that's his proof. That's what I'm proving his point. Because though Burnett told, like the judge told himself, like the rest of the people who were asking and all the sorts of reporters who were asking about the case, he told them that the reason he didn't investigate that further is because it would cause a mistrial, which confirms that the Memphis Three were charged for the sake of progressing a trial and finding a reason for these murders to satisfy the public.
Right.
But Eckles wore a necklace with the traces of the same blood type as, if I remember correctly, the Branch family. But that is a common blood type.
There's a lot of weird shit surrounding this fucking
But there's more to add on top of that too, which I will save for towards the end of the podcast, as long as with the Bojangles bit. So continue on, Jay.
So they tried Jessie Misskelley first because he had to have a separate trial from everybody else. And one of the main reasons why he even confessed was because they kept telling him, if you give us what we want, we'll let you go. You'll go home. That man never seen home again for 19 years, I believe it was. After that,
20 years.
20 years for him.
Yep.
So,
for both of them. For both of them, I was mentioning earlier in the podcast that Jason Baldwin actually agreed to the testified deal in order to save Damien.
Yeah, because there's nothing. I mean, they kept saying that they were inseparable, but I really think that they were an item.
Well, no, because Damien noted that in his own journal, is his own feelings in prison, that he felt that Jason was somebody that was so close to home but so far away. He was separated from Jason because Jason was getting along well with the guards and the environment in prison, while Damien was suffering.
It's kind of wild they put him in the same prison.
Well, it's Arkansas, so it's
whole conspirators though.
Talon, when you think of Arkansas, it doesn't have a high population, so of course that they would probably go to the same prison when the crime occurred.
Plus,
in the
there's
same
not
time.
a lot of people of color, so they're probably not going to have a lot of prisons, right?
But that's the thing. We're gonna cover that later, Talon. Just wait.
So he gets convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Now was it life in prison or was it the death penalty?
For Damian Eckles, it was a death penalty, but for Jason Baldwin and Jessie McKinley, it was life in prison.
All right, yeah. So it was life in prison, and they brought to him, like all fucking pigs do, a fucking deal that would state they would take off the life in prison if he testified against Jason and Damien.
That's exactly why they did it. That's why they did that. Look, I was mentioning that.
So for a reduced sentence, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
But he had
because the state was pressuring them. Because the
Right.
state was like, "Oh, we can settle this case once and for all if you just testify and say that you are guilty of it, and we'll let you go."
But
we'll
he got
let you
sick
go.
of it. He got sick of the pressure.
Not Jason, but Damien did. Yes, he did.
No, so did Jesse. Jesse got tired of the pressure and he didn't want to testify.
And the only person who didn't was Jason, which is the reason why Jason finally conceded to it. He was like, "All right, fine, I'm doing it for Damien," but he also did it for Jesse as well.
So there was a lot of damning shit in the whole trial for all three of them actually, and I think it was for the trial of Jessie Misskelley. There was a guy there who was he had a PhD in I think it was
Occult sciences.
Yeah, occult science and symbology and all of that.
I don't remember his exact name, but this gentleman was used by the prosecution of the state to prove that these murders were done in a satanic manner. They didn't bother, okay. So to all of you on the podcast, I am somebody who actually knows a thing or two about the natures of magicka and the natures of actual spiritual, spiritual practice. What they were trying to say is they were trying to twist Damien Eckles' Wiccan nature into something that is actually satanic, when Satanism itself has multiple different branches of its practice. There's Levianism, Satanism, who believes that the ego and center of itself is the ultimate god. And then there's actual Luciferianism, which represents and worships the fallen angel.
Which would be Anton LaVey and Aleister Crowley?
Aleister Crowley would actually be a practitioner of chaos magic, which represents the actual nature and structure of magic itself, which Damien Echols actually did investigate into.
Listen to this real quick.
Astonishing. That really is a damning fucking clip.
Did you not hear it?
No.
No. You playing something? It's quiet,
I was
bro.
playing something. Yeah, hold on. I didn't know because I could hear it. Hold on.
Obviously.
Yeah, there was no sound.
I can hear "Let It Go" now. I don't know what's up with
Hold
that.
on. I don't got it. I can't show.
Hey, what up, Migs? How you doing, bro? Oh,
All right. Let me know if you can hear it.
Nothing.
And
In the meantime, did y'all pick up y'all talking junk shirts?
underlying,
I got a nice.
and there's a couple.
did you mute this nigga as he was doing an ad?
Yeah, because the
Blood.
thing is low for some
it's
reason,
like-
so I'm trying to mute everybody to see if you can hear.
How were you accepted into enrollment at Columbia Pacific University?
I had to fill out a considerable series of papers, including all my education, background, experience.
Did you ever fill out a little flyer like this
No, sir.
that says, call toll free for information on how to become a doctor? This is a mail order college, isn't it? What classes did you take between 1980 and 1982 to obtain your master's degree? What
I
classes?
testified.
I'm asking,
Yeah.
what classes? What classes did you take?
I told you, I answered that before. None.
You did not take any classes. Between 1982 and 1984, when you became a PhD, what classes did you take?
None.
None. Okay.
Man, watched Quantum Leap for 2 years.
Listen. So this was the same person who testified on behalf of Damian Eckles. Oh, sorry, Jay.
Should be really easy to say what classes you took, but you know.
But listen, this was the person who claimed like all the evidence of occult like activity towards the murder case. This was the same person who was apparently an expert in occult sciences. The defensive on the Damian Eckles trial, what they did is that they straight up said that like they brought this expert on occult sciences, like a quote unquote, but the defense pointed out that the person who was representing the occult sciences on the prosecution side had no experience in it whatsoever. And as somebody who actually does research into Magica and somebody who actually does research into the practices of these old sorts of practices, he had no idea what he was talking about. And that's
Sounds like it's a cover up.
That's exactly what Jason's trying to imply. Right, Jay?
Uh-oh. This got him. Oh, shit. Yep. Yeah, it did. Look at this, man.
Yeah, he's talking, but he's not being able to be heard right now.
It's because he's trying to be telepathic.
Exactly. He's trying to communicate
Can
through
you
our
hear me
mind
now?
channels. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Good. You know, this long distance thing doesn't work out always. So like I was saying, yes, I'm
Working
trying to
for
imply
Darby,
this was more than it seemed, and this whole trial had fuckery. The whole trial. But ultimately, the boys were convicted. All of them.
Yeah, exactly. So to bring up the details about the trial, Damian Eckles and all of that, the prosecution rested their case on circumstantial evidence. We brought up the red bathrobe and the red fibers that were microscopically similar to the bathrobe found at Damian Eckles' house. The reason that we're bringing that up in specific is because the prosecution's entire case rested on circumstantial evidence. The state wanted to settle the case with examples of satanic and ritualistic worship being involved with these young boys and using these young boys as a scapegoat for their satanic panic that grappled the town. They used that satanic panic and they incited that satanic panic so they could rest this case easy.
They called it a satanic panic because it was cult related, but if they showed it off as being Satanism, which it wasn't, then they would be able to get away with it.
Which is why, Talon, I say it's Goetia worship. Because it's not Satanism. It's not Luciferianism. It's not. There's no Satan worship involved with this. The skinning and consumption of the penis skin means that this was obviously used in some sort of ritualistic murder, but it wasn't something related to Luciferianism.
Or the other theory was that it was a lust murderer.
That too. It could have been
They keep
somebody.
trophies.
It could have been somebody like Ted Bundy.
Thank you, sir. That is just one of many shirts that we have. Oh,
Well, no,
sorry,
my
I was
dad.
referring to this one right here.
No, my dad makes a point with that too. Is that like, it doesn't matter if it's a full moon exactly. It matters what was aligned constellationally or astrologically. If it's Goetia worship.
Also, from some information that Mr. Darby gave us earlier, because I can't, I'm not gonna read through all of it now because we're just gonna try to speed through this as much as possible. But,
Jay, that was my point in doing this. I covered most of that shit.
Okay. Well, no. What I was gonna say was that, some Satanists don't even harm children.
No.
You know what I mean?
There's different types of Satanism. There's Levian Satanism, which believes that the ego at the core of your own soul is the actual God that we all make up with. Like whatever your ego decides what is the true spiritual path is the spiritual path that you decide to go upon. That's Levianism, Satanism. It believes that your own self, you're the God, because all conscious reality is being interpreted by your own brain and through your own subjective experiences in this world. Am I not wrong?
Right.
So, with that said, there's also Luciferianism, which worships the fall of the angel Lucifer. There is Luciferianism. There is Goetia worship. Goetia worship is worship of the specific demons of the realms of hell. That is the difference. Worshipping demons is different than being in a satanic cult, is it not?
No, not really.
Well, no, it is, though, because...
I mean,
Who
the
are
method
demons
is.
beholden to?
What's up, Jer?
Who are demons beholden to?
Not always Lucifer. There's actually different castes.
Okay, but you can use multiple names for Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call it. Who are they beholden to?
Lucifer... No, because
Their work
actually...
for?
No, actually, because Lucifer, there is a triumvirate. It's not only Lucifer who controls the realms of hell. It's a sort of autonomous, like, confederacy of different demons allowing the legions to Lucifer, but also Beelzebub and also different forms of Goetic entities. It's not only Lucifer.
But I mean, they're both on like the same coin.
Yes, because of the war against God. You're right, they're on the same coin, but it's not. But we're talking about the distribution
We're just talking
of power.
about methodology here, not really them being different.
Well, no, that's my point. We're talking about methodology, but we're talking about methodology in the sense of how these governances happen inside of these demonic entities.
Right. It's all fucked and all that. Like
I mean,
they,
there's one
if
big boss
you're,
they answer to, right? There's one leader in the chain of command they answer to.
That's Levianism my dad is talking about right there. Satan is a representative of man's carnal knowledge of needs and wants. Similar to like Pluto, like how Pluto is representative in astrology to mankind's needs or like primal desires.
Wait, Pluto's not a planet?
that might be why they said Pluto wasn't a planet. They're like, we're going to demasculate it, so we're going to just say Pluto ain't shit no more.
But like, yeah, so Jade, continue off because you're in a different filter.
I don't remember where we were. Oh, the boys got convicted. Da. The prosecution.
Da. Are you Russian now?
Da. It began making its case against Echols and Baldwin in much the same way as it did against Misskelley in his trial. The parents describing the last time they saw their sons, detectives describing how they found the bodies and what they found at the crime scene. When Detective Brian Ridge, in response to the question on cross-examination about a delay of 2 months in retrieving a piece of crime scene evidence, said, it didn't take the stick into. I didn't take the stick into evidence until the statement of Jessie Misskelley, in which he said, "Val Price immediately asked for a mistrial." Price insisted that blurting out the fact that Jessie Misskelley gave a confession was extremely prejudicial and unwarranted by his question.
Well, that's because Jessie Misskelley's confession, like I said, you know how he was in there for 5.5 hours?
Right.
He was basically lied to about the polygraph test. They said that he
was
failed.
also coerced, though.
Exactly, that's my point, is that they used methods of coercion to make Jessie Misskelley offer evidence. Continue on, Jay.
In a later testimony, Ridge reported that during Damien's long interrogation at the police station, he had claimed all persons hold demonic forces inside them, made observations about the mystical significance of water, and noted that 3, the number of boys killed, of course, was a sacred number in the Wicca religion. Moreover, Ridge testified Damien acknowledged reading books by Stephen King, an author famous for his horror novels. In fact, Ridge thought was strange, further developing its theme. All right, wait, because this is getting crazy. They just basically attacked the person that Damien was.
Yeah,
Damien was those emo kids that you've seen in the 90s that evolved.
Early 90s, they weren't emo; they were traditional goth.
Right. Okay, so those traditional goth kids.
Listen, I'm the white guy. Listen, Jay, I'm the white guy on the podcast. I know what my emo kids are.
Well, Talon is half of you.
Dre, it's not semantics though, because there's different types of emo kids.
They're still the same people.
They're not, because
they're all just depressed white kids.
Well, listen, they are all depressed
Don't you learn
white
anything
kids.
from South Park?
With some
Well, listen, South Park actually made a difference between different types of depressed white kids, because there was the emos versus the goths. You don't remember that episode?
You don't,
yeah, but I mean,
did you miss out on the entire joke of the whole thing?
Fair. Fair. They're all the same, yes, but at the same time, there's
and
differences.
the vampires, they're all the same.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you go to a Korn concert versus My Chemical Romance. The same shit. You got depressed.
I never went to that shit. I was always at Slayer and Megadeth and Gwar and shit like that.
Same shit.
It's not the same shit. No, Mix, fuck that. That's not the same shit. What are you talking about?
Angry white kids, and then Gwar is because you want to be edgy.
Gwar is not because I want to be edgy. Gwar is because it's an actual genuinely good metal
It's
band.
funny that you would mention music because
I'm sorry. Gore's hilarious.
War.
Their concerts are brutal. Dude. Those mosh pits don't fuck around.
It's funny that you would mention music because music played an essential role in even
Hip hop don't got shit in the fact that hip hop don't got fucking mosh pits, dude.
music played an essential role in this trial, during and after it. Musicians like the Dixie Chicks and fucking
how did they play a role, Jay?
Let me get back to this one right here.
Go right ahead. Take your time. We're all drunk and we're all wasted here and we're all high. It's just how this podcast goes.
Not all of us. Some of us.
I am a. What do you mean all?
I saw you smoking a joint, Talon. Don't fuck
You
with me.
saw something.
I saw something. You're correct. I saw this weird long stick that was in your mouth.
That's called a UFO. And
you're right.
We're gonna leave it like that.
It was just hovering around your mouth, dude.
Wow. Yeah. Unidentified smoking object.
Exactly.
All right, where the fuck were we? Well, I fucking lost the page that I had.
We're about to talk about the celebrity involvement after they were accused of doing thing.
Right, they kept doing benefit concerts and shit on like that on behalf of them. They were rallying to try to get more evidence, more DNA.
Do you want me to go over their celebrity involvement, Jay?
Yes, sure, Mister. What are you drinking over there?
I'm drinking Calypso Rum Silver.
Okay, your name is Calypso for the rest of the fucking podcast.
Calypso.
Calypso. Anyways, Calypso says, from left to right.
No, he's saying it in fucking third person.
From left to right, co-president of bonus of Sony Classic, pictures Tom Bernard, actor Johnny Depp, musician Natalie Mayonnaise of Dixie Chicks, Lori Davis, wife of child killer Damian Eckles, director of Amy Berg and Damian Eckles, convicted murderer of those 3-year-old kids. There's pictures of them together. Peter Jackson, who made the documentary West of Memphis, posing with Damian Eckles. He spent $20 million trying to prove Eckles' innocence. Anderson Cooper with Damian Eckles.
That Peter Jackson?
Yes.
Yeah, that Peter Jackson.
That Peter Jackson. Hollywood Circles, Talon.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's surprising, but it's also not, you know?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's that's how Epstein's Black Book went. It's just like, oh, yeah, him? I guess so.
Right.
So Eddie Vedder and Patti Smith, Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, and Johnny Depp playing a music event to help the Music 3. Comedian Sarah Silverman posing with Damian Eckles during event. Directors Bruce Simonofsky and Joe Berlinger posing with Damian on death row. There's so many celebrities. Also, Johnny Depp and Damian Eckles got matching tattoos.
That's crazy.
Damian Eckles is also apparently the inspiration for one of Stranger Things characters.
Eddie Munson.
Yeah, that's whatever.
Which, by the way, Jake can testify, I have a sicker battle jacket than Eddie Munson.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Goddamn right it is, Jay.
That's the Calypso talking.
Did you actually go into battle
It's not the. Oh, yes, I did go into battle with it, Talon. I went to many, many mosh pit at Slayer, Anthrax, Lamb of God. There was battle to be won.
Now we're getting into your theory here, Calypso.
What's my theory, Jay?
In the documentary, the second part of the documentary, the Paradise Lost 2, they try to state that Terry Hobbs, stepfather of victims...
You want me to start talking about this, Jay?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. A documentary film about the 1993 killings west of Memphis, released in 2012, strongly suggested that Terry Hobbs, stepfather of one of the victims of Stevie Branch, participated in the murder of these 3 boys. The filmmakers noted that the most significant piece of DNA evidence found at the crime scene, DNA in a hair found in one of the shoelaces used to tie up the boys, matched the DNA of Hobbs, which is the stepfather of Stevie Branches, and that the second hair found on the tree stump near where the bodies were found matched that of David Jacoby, a friend of Hobbs. The filmmaker also noted that Hobbs had a long history of abuse, including admitted assault on his wife and accusations of child beating and assault on his neighbors, which his neighbors, offered that testimony. To the mix of this circumstantial evidence, the filmmakers included an interview with an aunt of Stevie Branch, Jolyn McGaughey, who alleged that she saw Hobbs doing laundry the night of the murders, presumably to clean the mud off of his clothes after he killed the boys in the woods.
Calypso's making you slur your words there.
A little bit, but we're just gonna go with it.
He's just getting a little Tyson with it.
Exactly. It's my Buffalo accent kicking in.
Sure it is.
I know there's mad people from Buffalo.
What did you say, Tom?
There's so many people in Buffalo that I know would be pissed to hear you say that this is their accent.
Well, it's an upstate accent, not a New York accent.
It's the Irish in him that thinks slurring is an accent.
We're not even talking
Yo,
about
listen, there is a bit of Irish in me, so that does explain it.
Yeah, I sense a little hint of Guinness in your slurring.
I love Guinness. Fuck you.
A little fence in the ball.
Sorry, I'm so correct. What the fuck you want me to do?
You are correct. That's why I hate it.
Want me to lie to you?
Yeah. Also, for those out there who are viewing this podcast, leave Guinness in the warm sun, and Guinness, when it's warm, will express the flavors properly. That's a tip from an Irish.
It's definitely better warm.
That's a tip from an Irishman. Anyways, so to this mix of circumstantial evidence, the filmmakers included an interview with an aunt of Stevie Branch, Jolyn McAughy, who also a fellow Irishman, who alleged that she killed the boys in the woods. The filmmakers also reported that a prized pocket knife owned by Stevie, once he almost carried with him, was later found amongst Hobbs' possessions. Finally, perhaps the most damningly, the filmmakers produced 3 young men who claimed to have been told by a nephew of Terry Hobbs, the father of Stevie Branch, stepfather specifically, that the fact that Terry killed the 3 boys was a closely family secret. You want me to add on top of this too? So what happened in 2013, what seems likely to be the closest to the true story of West Memphis murders, finally emerged in separate affidavits signed by Billy Wayne Stewart and Benny Guy. If you don't know what an affidavit is, it's like a court deal which they offer you to explain the situation and explain the crime in order to achieve a lessened sentence. So signed by Billy Wayne Stewart and Benny Guy, which were 2 characters, which obviously these are fake names that agree to,
What was the names?
Billy Wayne Stewart and Benny Guy. Fake names.
Benny Guy.
Benny Guy.
Hey, it's Benny Guy.
My name is a pun, hey.
Yeah, right? So the level of detail and overall plausibility of the stories told in the affidavits make them seem highly credible, even if they do come from a convicted drug dealer and a convicted felon. On May 5th, 1993, according to both Stewart and Guy, Terry Hobbs, David Jacoby, which is the person I mentioned earlier, and a convicted felon, on May 5th, 1993, according to both of them, LJ, another figure in the crime, LJ Hollingsworth, and Buddy Lucas, which was a term for Billy Wayne Stewart, showed up at his West Memphis home looking to buy some pot, which Stewart provided. While Stewart sold the 2 boys the pot, he noticed Hobbs and Jacoby kissing in a pickup truck across the street. What happened after Stewart sold the pot on May 5th was told to Stewart by Buddy Lucas in April 1995. Getting in the back of his pickup, Hobbs, Jacoby, and the 2 boys drove around town, smoking and drinking, before heading down a dirt road by the Blue Beacon Wood. At that point, according to Lucas's account, Terry Hobbs asked 2 teenagers that were with them to get out and wrestle while he and Jacoby watched. Lucas does not specifically say that wrestling soon turned into a sexual activity involving him and the LJ and the other person that was involved, and the 2 men, the 2 teenagers specifically. Stewart had no doubt this is what happened, asserting in his affidavit that what was going on between the boys and the men that Buddy had just told me. It was during this likely sexual activity that Chris Byers and Michael Moore and Stevie Branch appeared on their bikes, which earlier in the podcast we mentioned that Rolling Hills was a popular hangout spot for multiple different people in the town community. So when these boys rolled up around the time of 8 o'clock, which I had mentioned, does that start to fit the pieces?
Hey, they fit in as much as they can there.
They stumbled upon it, which is why they were able to take control of 3 little boys.
They really got a Godfather filter.
Hey, it's Benny Guy.
You're making such an insult on my family, telling me we killed these boys.
Made them boys an offer they couldn't refuse.
We never killed these boys.
Speaking of offer they could confuse, what happened after Stewart sold the pot on May 5th? They were going around drinking and all that.
Hey,
and
my nigga, can you do me a favor and just say something other than pot? Because that's like such a federal ass term for weed.
I'm reading the report. I'm reading the actual government report, which
that's
is
what
why
I'm
they,
saying. Like, just
yeah.
do a mental edit and just be like the weed or like the drug. Like, just mix it up because it's like pot every 5th word. It's like, hey yo.
Well, I'm reading the actual report, so what do you expect, man? It's actual feds.
Go ahead, continue.
So yeah, like it was during this activity, that Terry Hobbs screamed, "Get those little fuckers!" While Jacoby beat one of the kids, Hobbs ordered Buddy and LG to pull off his pants. According to the Stewart affidavit, during the Stewart affidavit. Yes, thank you. Mr. Hobbs walked over to the boy that. Yeah, fuck you, Talon. That Mr. Jacoby had been beating and repeatedly bit the boy's penis and the scrotum, which explains.
Time out, read that
no,
line
no,
again.
no. Yeah,
Read that line
okay.
again.
So get them little fuckers. While Jacoby beat one of the kids, Hobbs ordered Buddy and LG to pull off his pants. According to the Stewart affidavit, Mr. Hobbs walked over to the boy and Mr. Jacoby had been beating and repeatedly bit the boy's penis and scrotum. Hence, what we talked about earlier in the case details about how
He was
penis
beating his dick.
beating him and then bit
Oh,
off.
okay.
Yes, which complies to both of the crime scene investigations. They had seen that the boys had been both beaten and that the skin of their penis had been skinned. That is what Terry Hobbs is saying right here.
You want to make a fucking keychain out of it?
Sounds like a detective named Terry Hobbs.
Terry Hobbs then announced that the other two boys, who were teenagers that were with them, had to be killed because of what they'd seen. And Hobbs and Jacoby proceeded to do just that. The boys' children and bodies were gathered and dragged to the water, and the bikes that were like known for the boys were thrown into the bayou, which the investigators did find those bikes in the bayou themselves. On top of that, the other suspect, Benny Guy, whom I was mentioning earlier, his affidavit, his affidavit tells a similar story.
Now, what does his affidavit got to say there?
Did you say after David? Affidavit.
After David?
What happened after David?
Here's after David.
It's that Buffalo accent coming out, guys.
Zesty.
But
After David.
Benny Guy stated that while Buddy, the guy who described as pretty bad slow, which presumably would be Jessie McKinney, was staying in a home in 1994, which he confessed his involvements in the killings, which is at the time that the investigation was going on, and Jessie McKinney was trapped by the FBI to admit those killings. Guy said in his affidavit that LG, one of the people that were involved, was also confessed to participating in the murders in 1995, a year after the trial actually happened. Or 2 years, actually, is my bad. His confession added a few more new details than that of the previous. Hobbs hit the boy in the head and shouted, "I'm going to teach your fucking ass," after kicking him. Hobbs hit the boy in the head and shouted, After that, he continued to kick him in the head and continued to beat him. And he confirmed that his assertion that Hobbs ordered the two teens that were with them to take off the pants of the boys before cutting the genitals of one of them with the knife. One of the things I wanted to bring up is, who are these two teens? Does that sound like an 18-year-old Damien Eckles and a 17-year-old Jason Baldwin?
Or some of nephews that need to get their licks in to join the family. You know, someone that Benny Guy knows.
Well, listen,
Did you really say get their licks in?
Get the licks in.
Hey, we don't use the term murder. All right.
I'm
just elimination.
I'm just saying, due to the nature of the murders, to say licks is very. Anyway.
Well, they said he bit him, so there was no licking involved. It was all teeth, huh?
But that's the thing. So this stunning account of these two admissions, there is no evidence that the murder actually occurred at the wooded areas of Robin Hills. There is no blood on the crime scene of Robin Hills whatsoever. It was just the bodies, meaning that the bodies were dumped there.
Right.
So
it's not too far-fetched to think that if something did play out, maybe Damien and Jason did have something to do with it, and they the only way to get them prosecuted to take the fall for it is to get Jessie Misskelley to opt them out. Now, this is just a theory. This is not real because obviously.
Well, no, that's our theory. That's the Talking Junks theory.
Well, my theory is still the fucking investigator has something to do with that shit.
Well, with the investigator, the DNA evidence of the. So, Jay, would this be a time to bring up Mr. Bojangles?
In just a second, why don't we tell them what these gentlemen, Jason Baldwin?
Why don't you do? Because I've been talking for a minute.
This is what they're doing now, right? Because they got out of jail in 2011, I believe.
Yes, I did.
Damian Eckles now lives in Salem, Mass, with his wife Laurie. Although it won't win him back 20 lost years and means constantly ripping wounds back open, Damian continues to fight for his exoneration. In his new life, he has gone paragliding. Paragliding.
Oh, so you want to shit on me? You want to shit on me for being drunk, and then you say do the same shit.
Bizzle with the Benny guy, eh? You went paragliding in New England, guy. In New Zealand, I said New England there. See, because that's where we go. We go from New York to New England. Anyway, he went with Peter Jackson. Look at that. They were filming a new movie with Johnny Depp, known to many of the directors of The Lord of the Rings, whatever. He became good friends with Johnny Depp. In 2013, the article in Rolling Stone magazine, Depp said of Eckles, "You expect a time bomb. Expect a time bomb, but Damien's so kind and loving and open to the possibilities of the world. He's the strongest human being I've ever met."
Whatever, Johnny.
You gotta be kind of strong to take down 3 8-year-old boys. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen. The fact that he took down 8 3-year-old boys means nothing because the Yellowstone killer and a couple other killers have killed 3 people at once.
That was not long enough to read that comment.
For real.
Anyway, I'm just saying. Now I'm only playing with you, Mr. Eckles. I know you trying to fight hard for your exoneration. All right, Mr. Jessie Misskelley is the one member of the Memphis Three who was maintained low profile since his release. He lives and works still in West Memphis and is reluctant to talk to the media. Jason Baldwin, who taught classes to other inmates in prison, helped produce a feature film.
You can take it down now, bro.
What was that?
I say you can take. Yeah, damn.
Jason Baldwin helped produce a film about the West Memphis Three called The Devil's Knot, starring Reese Witherspoon as Pam Hicks, the mother of the victim Stevie Branch, and Colin Firth, a defense investigator, Ron Lax. He says he'd like to work on behalf of the wrongly accused and hopes to attend law school. Life is getting better, Baldwin says. We all lived through this horrible time in our own way and got through it differently. So now I guess all have a different. I guess? What the fuck?
Yeah, you know what, Jay? Jay, fuck you for shitting on me. Fuck you.
Go look at you have the website up. This is exactly how the fucking sentence is. So now I guess all have a different way of healing.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Yeah, so there needs to be a brackets of we.
Yeah, the Tom's right.
Well, they should have put it there. It wasn't me. Anyway, Mr. Bojangles. We said at the beginning of this, and I just want to put up a couple of disclaimers here. We kind of joked around this whole fucking episode because really, who really wants to get so morbid into the details of 3 young boys dying and being mutilated? This was a horrible, horrible crime. And if you really, really want to get in depth, like we usually do with a lot of other investigations, then you go ahead and you look at the evidence. You go ahead and you look at the documentaries. You go ahead and read the books, listen to the podcast, do your research. This thing is very morbid. You try to watch 6 hours of a trial where they show you dead photos of kids hogtied. You try to watch 6 hours of mothers crying. and boys on trial trying to fight for their innocence. This is a hard case to do research on. So we don't want to be too morbid on this show. So we did play around with a lot of it. But it's a real serious matter, and it really, if you want to get in depth, there is a lot. And it's more, I'm saying 6 hours, that's just one documentary. Just one.
Yeah, you should probably do something better with your life, honestly.
Right.
Jay, I think my dad actually does say something actually interesting here. Everyone is influenced in what he or she does. Scapegoating has become a way of life, a means of survival for the unfit. As an extension of the Judeo-Christian cop-out of blaming the devil for everything, criminals can gain leniency, even praise, by placing the blame on a convenient villain. Found the Satanic creed of responsibility to the responsible. In a Satanic society, everyone must experience the consequences of his own actions, for good or for ill. Which is why this case isn't, it's the one above it.
I know. I see it. That's the one I had on there. He said some stuff after.
The one he's afraid to read?
I wasn't afraid to read it. I wasn't reading any of them. We were leaving them up and we were answering them.
So don't get your feelings. It's all good.
I agree with Tom.
Huh?
But Jay, continue where we were all left off.
In the after that long-winded explanation of the jokes on this episode and the severity of the research that we did, you go. In other words, you go ahead, and if you want to open down that rabbit hole, you go ahead and shoot down it. But where we were going to wrap this up at is Mr. Bojangles. Now, through all of this, there was a brief moment where they were looking for the boys, and one of the cops were called to a Bojangles because
Officer McKean
was called to a fucking Bojangles because a black man was seen going into the bathroom covered in mud and blood. And he came out, and the whole bathroom was covered in what he had been covered in when he went in. And he came out nice and clean. They went in there, they did their samples, and for some reason, what was it? The same investigator that I was accusing of being?
So I don't remember his name. I have to look at my notes.
Yeah, I'm going back up for it right now. To the names of
Officer Doofy.
Steve Jones or Gary Gitchell?
Wasn't it Steve Jones? Because Steve Jones was
Steve
best
Jones.
friends.
Steve Jones is the one who discovered the bodies.
And he was best friends with the fucking truancy officer.
Yes, the truancy officer.
Carl Winslow.
No, his truancy officer was. I have to look at my notes. He's over here. I got him. There was Gary Gitchell, and there was also Mike Allen. Sergeant Mike Allen was the truancy officer, if I believe correctly.
Jerry Driver.
My bad.
It was Jerry Driver, and it was Steve what?
Steve Jones.
Steve Jones. Steve Jones was his best fucking friend. That's not a coincidence. There are no coincidences. I'm just saying. And maybe it wasn't. Maybe Echols and Jason are still scapegoats and they didn't have a hand to it. And it really wasn't teenagers. It was lead investigators.
It's a town-wide cover-up.
It is. But the only way this would wrap up into or even fit into the conspiracy of the Memphis rap sigils is if Mr. Bojangles himself was the one that killed the three boys in West Memphis and recorded it somewhere and brought those little boys back to their hometown and left them there for this whole escapade to take place. Like I said, do the research and you'll know what type of escapade I'm talking about, because nothing from this investigation, nothing from this trial, nothing from these murders are ordinary.
Yeah, don't do that. Do something better with your life. Learn a skill, read a book, go out and do something less. Because honestly, as sad as this is, fuck all this bullshit. We got too much dark shit going on. Do something happy with your life. Make yourself happy. Don't learn about dark shit and serial killings and all that motherfucking shit. Go
That's
do
what we're
something
here
that
for.
brings some joy in your life, and we'll take a quick L for you, and you can be like, huh, so that's the thing, but I'm not gonna waste my time. Don't fucking do that. Okay, don't do that. You can do that, like he said, but don't fucking do that.
You know, there's a lot of places we can go next week.
I think it's about time we go to New York City.
We could go to New York City. We could try to find something, or
did you just say try?
Try.
Are you fucking serious? What? We could just talk about you people over there.
Oh, fuck you.
Also, to bring up, I feel like that overall, my dad makes a good point to the conclusion of this episode. You cannot just blame the devil. That is wrong. You cannot say that someone's a Satanist and they did it. They may have actually been really close friends and redirected all of their attention from them to this case. People are naturally evil. Back then, if you were gay in a town or goth, you would have been sacrificed like the said boys. You had to be really careful. And this is someone that grew up in California.
I mean, it still sounds like there's some evil secret shit.
I would look at it as people just looking for an excuse to blame the evil shit that they planned on doing.
Yeah,
on shit like that. So it's like, yeah, I don't know.
That's what I was saying.
Satanic panic being used as a vehicle to express the murders of these young boys.
Yeah, right. It's not that it was necessarily wrong. It was misdirected into the truth, and utilizing it helped completely draw away what the actual fact of the matter was, which it was still dark and terrible, but not the kind of dark and terrible that got marketed out there. They used it as a vessel because that was popular with the heavy metal music, because it tied together. There was already a message that existed. So why look into something that's more specific? You don't have to do that. But by not doing that, that allows you to ignore how, if you look into it, like you were saying, it looks like Goshen shit or whatever. And that's probably why those specific celebrities jumped on, because the motherfuckers are also into some type of practice or worship. And they're like, no, we got to make sure this doesn't get popularized, and we got to make sure it goes up to shit that's not actually real. And we're that's what it seems like to me, because there was definitely something happened. It was probably some town-wide cultist shit with just a few people, but the select people in the right positions to have people be involved as scapegoats, but also there's some type of sacrifice or ritual done for some means. And there's clearly a conspiracy of collusion that made a sloppy story that was good enough that it's unsolved.
Right.
What is everybody?
Hunter Biden, Hillary Clinton, emails, pizza.
Real quick, what does everybody else think about this whole case that we spoke about? Because I know you guys did your individual research, not as deep as most of us, but
Yeah, no, I have been fucking. I've done some tons of research on this, so tell me what you all think.
Anybody? Or do I?
I mean, I just kind of said my whole.
I kind of already said my piece earlier, but I'll reiterate. Just pretty much depending on how everybody looks, how they want to tap into something at said time when they are calling upon it as an excuse versus what they actually study or practice. It all just depends on the situation and the individual, because some people would use it as an excuse versus others actually practicing something. And when they're evaluated, you can get some kind of proof off of what they were on, what they were influenced by, what they were following, to find out why they did what they did. Other than that, people are just trying to find an excuse to just do crazy shit in this world and then blame it on something else. Like, you have people out there who say they were possessed, Satanism. It's like, but you weren't possessed. Like, motherfuckers is watching you on the camera, looking around to see, like, if anybody came back in. As soon as you come in the door, they want to start acting all fucking stupid. Our world has gotten weirder in the last 15 years. So it's hard to put a finger on, like, what's really happening and where we're going versus what we've seen collectively and what we're paying attention to as people try to still put that bullshit on, as moving forward. But I'm saying this from a neutral standpoint because people practice something that they believe in that works for them versus people claiming shit that they've used to make an excuse for. So here I am.
That's Miggs. What do you think, Dre? I'm honestly curious to hear your decision.
When we were a motorized bicycle company, they said you'll never be.
What the fuck? What the fuck? You be the most rude nigga with some audio clips.
That played out of nowhere. I was queuing up something that I was getting ready to say after everybody said their thing.
Out of nowhere, but you're queuing up something.
No, it was the ad on a website that I went on.
You look like an ad on the website right now. Look, like even Iron Man agreed. Like, yep.
Go ahead, Dre. What was you saying?
Go ahead, Dre.
Nothing. I got nothing to add.
This is true. I mean, this is kind of really outside of the. Like I said, ain't no hoods out there. Black folk don't fuck with this shit. You never heard about this in no black city.
I mean, we did.
Except for West Memphis and the sigils of Memphis. So I guess it's Memphis, honestly. Memphis is a fucked up place. Don't go there. If you want barbecue, just keep going more south. It's not that great.
My dad says voodoo.
Exactly. Yeah, hoodoo. Gotta get that hoodoo. Decent song by Godsmack. Voodoo, voodoo, voodoo. Yeah, what do y'all think about that fucking Afro Puffy bitch that's supposed to be the new shit?
Afro Puffy bitch.
What?
She's like she a rapper, I guess, from like New York or something like that. I guess she getting caught up. She's supposed to be the shit or something like that. And
you talking about Spice Ice?
Yeah, Spice Ice, whatever the fuck her name is.
I don't know, bro. I really don't have any opinion either way on the girl.
That's your opinion officially as a married man?
That's not because I'm a married man. I know Drake has
how come
something to
niggas are
say
so
about
talkative
it,
and now
so
I wish I was on your podcast. I've seen some shit that will blow y'all minds.
Honestly,
I'm afraid to
I
ask
would be
what
very interested, but I don't think I could have my mind blown at this point. I expect everything from humanity.
My dad has been to almost every state besides for Hawaii and Alaska.
Are those the most evil?
Apparently. I would know that Alaska is evil.
I mean, of course it is.
You
There's a
would,
reason why they
because,
put that wilderness. It's the home of the Lich King.
You already know. You already know
Aliens don't exist because they weren't in the Bible, Jay.
Right.
How do people don't know that? There's all these names of all these tribes. Come on. The Deadites? Like, that sounds like zombies to me.
I mean, the Deadites. That sounds like a zombie. The Deadites.
It's for me.
Real quick, before we did this episode, I want to do something about New York, like you said, but let's wait for not next week.
Nah, Jay. Jay, I
find
got
something
some
real
shit
good to
about. I got some shit about Lake Champlain. There is a Loch Ness monster that we have in our own lakes.
Champ.
Champ.
See, that didn't win over the masses. Like I said, let's take a week to see what we can do from New York. And I think maybe since they're trying to get back to the moon, maybe we can do the new conspiracy theory that just surfaced off the last time something bad happened when we try to go to the moon. That was the Challenger.
Challenger was meant to be a solar system space exploration / lab meant to orbit the Earth. There was no mention of going to the moon.
Well, either way, there is a conspiracy theory surrounding that right now. And since they're trying to launch Artemis, which has been postponed twice.
Artemis 11. And it was postponed due to a fuel containment leakage.
It was postponed today, too. Was that the reason?
People are always fucking up on those jobs, and yet they still say, look, let's go to fucking explosion.
Well, listen, that's the thing. That's why NASA is the most successful. NASA actually takes the time to even scrub a launch at the slightest misconvenience or error. Meanwhile,
that's the reason why.
No, listen. Compare that to SpaceX, who blows up rockets every few fucking years.
Yeah, but like it still is just all in all a waste of fucking money.
It's not a waste of money because NASA actually has things like the Space Webb Telescope,
What is
the
NASA
ISS,
added to society?
space exploration, and the
Not a
possibility.
goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing.
Nah, because
how much gas does it take to get there?
You know what, Jay? I want to do an episode. I want to do a debate episode between Talon and me.
No, you don't, because I will come so filthy and not sourced, you won't win.
I will crush you.
You won't win because you're gonna come with sourced materials, and I'll tell you right up front, I'll be like, all of it is lies, and then then you can never win because I automatically won't believe you. Don't do that. It'll be a trollish situation.
I tell you what, we can set up a whole different episode for a whole different day where you guys pick one singular topic and you have a certain amount of time to do your own researches and pick the.
Hey, I got Sundays off. If you just want to talk shit on Sundays, I'm down for that for whoever wants to do that. We can do talking shit on Sundays.
If y'all want to do a debate, we can do a debate one Sunday and y'all pick opposing sides to one singular topic and we give y'all a certain amount of time to get y'all.
All right, maybe.
I'm down.
A debate club. Have you ever seen a debate?
I've seen one, but have you seen a break room debate?
Yep.
No, I haven't.
But
we'll do it by round.
People are into that shit.
We'll do it by round, right? And after every round, Talon, we might have to have you do this in your house. After every round, we'll have either the audience or the crew members debate themselves on who won that round, and then the loser got to take some shots.
I'm down for this. I'm down.
We all got to order.
And at the end, we'll determine who's the master debater.
Right. Right.
We need some diesel for this.
Yeah, baby.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. I'm glad you picked up on that.
Well, wouldn't I pick up on it, baby?
You know who I think might have been involved in this whole thing?
How about you?
Huh? I'm going to tell you exactly who it is. Bob Saget. You can't make all those jokes and do all those things about